super excited to show you how to put together my new three-dimensional alphabet letters that you can buy in SVG format at my shop.loriwhitlock.com or in the Silhouette Design Store. They are about 5 inches tall and about 1 inch deep, and they're a really cute size, but they can also be scaled up or down for your project. As you can see, most of the pieces are about 6 inches at the max, so you can almost scale them up 200%. I'd say about 180% would be safe, so you could get some pretty large letters if that's what you need for your project. They're really fun and really cute, and it's fun to spell words with them and make home decor pieces. So let me show you how to put these together. They're really quite simple. When you look at the file, you're going to see in the upper right hand corner a piece that has a flat edge and probably one single dot. Then the next piece next to it will have a dot with then 2 dots. And so you'll need to line these up so that the dots match the next piece to it. Once you have those lined up, and I've probably stacked them or lined them in the file up so that it's kind of in the right order, but you'll need to make sure you get those in the right order. And then if there's a hole in the middle of the piece, like a B or an O, R, those letters, a P, they'll have a piece that looks like this. And if there's a little box in the corner, that'll help you remember that they are the inside box, and they're also labeled inside box. The piece will look like this, and it's really easy to just put that piece together. So what I'm going to do is set these pieces aside, and we'll go ahead and put this inside piece together. I'm going to fold all the score marks towards one direction, and then I'm going to take the glue tabs and fold them out because I don't want those folded. I don't want them showing on the inside of my letter, so they're going to fold out, and this will be the inside of our letter. And if you glue your tab in here, it's going to show. So make sure you glue it on the outside so you have a nice clean hole on the inside here. So I'm going to lay everything flat and put a little bit of glue here on this glue tab. I like using the table to glue things when I can because it will let me use the table to push down. So go ahead and just make sure that tab's in place, and like I said, make sure all those glue tabs are folded out. And I'm going to set this little piece aside for now because I want to install this very last on my letter. So that piece is done, and we'll just set it to the side. So now we have our big long line, and we need to connect all this together. So let me show you how I do that. You take your very first piece, and you'll know it's your first piece because it's flat on this end and it has a number 1 here. And you're going to take that glue tab and fold it backwards. And then I just go ahead and put a little adhesive right there on that glue tab. And then I pick up the piece next to it, and with the dots in the same corner, I just fold that back and glue them together. So the glue tab is sandwiched in the middle there. And the dots don't particularly have to line up, but what does need to line up are the sides of this piece. Sometimes the angles will match, but sometimes they won't. So don't worry about that, but just make sure the sides and this edge line up really nicely. Glue that in place. So now back to our position here. This is our next tab we're going to work with. There's no tab over here, so you won't get confused. But just go ahead and push that down. Put some glue on that tab. And then pick up the next piece, line those up, and glue that together, making sure everything's nice and square. And then we'll repeat that process for this next tab. And go ahead and glue that in place. Once you have all those pieces glued in place, we're gonna fold on all the score marks in the same direction. There's this funky little spot here on the R. That's the only one that has such a small section. So I thought this was a good one to work with because it's probably one of the more complicated letters. Okay, once you have all those folded, go ahead and take the little glue tabs and fold them all towards the inside. So this is the side with the glue tab where you can see it. So just fold everything. That way this side's nice and neat. There's nothing showing. And again, I like to use the table to help me do this rather than holding it up in the air. I like my pieces to stay nice and straight. You could use a bone folder here if you wanted to. And be very careful with the little triple dots there to make sure that piece goes to the score marks. It wants to fold on the dots sometimes. Okay, and in the file you'll notice that I have given you a starting position. And so I'm going to put this back where we started with the flat edge here. And there's probably a little dot that says start. So this is where we're going to start gluing right here on this end. And then we're going to take our R and we're going to have it right facing. And then we're going to figure out where our starting point was. And I believe on the R, I'm going from memory, we're just going to start right here. So there's probably a little dot with a start pointing up on this edge. So we're just going to glue that edge together and then work our way around the letter. So I'm going to put the glue on this tab and then just very carefully, we're going to glue this first piece here in position. And I'm actually going to use the table to help me out and then wipe away any excess glue there. Get that, it's really critical that you get that first piece right in the right position. So be very careful. That is tedious work, but the neater and the slower you move here, the nicer your project is going to turn out. So just take your time and do each section one at a time. And again, I like to use the table, so I'm going to take the whole thing and flip it over at this point so I can kind of work on the inside of my project. So I'll just put a little glue right here on this where I know the next section's going to go. And then I can look out here and make sure it's lined up right on the edge and then use my fingernail to press down. And then just move over here to the next section. Okay, and then we're down to our last couple sections here. And there's a glue tab and that needs to go to the inside. So I'm going to pull that out of the way, put a little glue in here, and it gets a little tight. And I'm going to put a little glue right here on the inside, or you could put it on the tab, either one. And just hold those last two pieces in place. So really that wasn't too bad. We've got everything glued down and there's the front of our R. It's looking pretty good. So now we're going to put our little center section in. So let's just glue that right in place. Make sure it's not a perfect square, so make sure you get it in the right orientation. And we'll put some glue right on those 4 tabs. And just flip that over. Get that position just right. It's really good. Okay, now we're ready to put the back on. So what I like to do is pull all these tabs up where they're not poking down. Like this piece here wouldn't get any glue to adhere to the back. So we're just going to pull those up a little and then we're going to put adhesive on all these tabs and get ready to put our back on. And you have to work kind of fast because this glue dries pretty quickly. Okay, so now we're ready to take the back. And I just like to make sure everything is lined up on the edges nicely. If you have an area that you need to pinch in just a little bit, just make sure you get it in the right position before that glue dries. And you're good to go. Looks really, really nice. So that's our R. And then we're ready to put our covering panel on. So we're just going to put a little glue on the back. And the nice thing about this glue bottle is I'm able to get just small amounts of glue right where I want them. So you want to get the edges nicely and make sure your glue is not too thick. That's probably the biggest mistake in paper crafting, is getting too much glue on your project. So just a little bit of glue, and then there's about 1/8 of an inch gap all the way around. So just center that visually and go ahead and put that down. And your R is completely done and ready to go. It's really, really cute. And it's 3-dimensional and so much fun. I hope you enjoy making this alphabet and spelling lots of fun words to make cute projects. I wanted to give you one little tip before we go. The letter F is top heavy. So if you hear, I put some beans in here, or rice. I put beans, but you could use rice. Something with a little bit of weight so that that letter can stand up without falling over is a really good idea. Or you may want to do it for all your letters if you're using them like on a dresser or something that wiggles a little bit when you open the drawers. You don't want them to tip. You could weight them all with a little bit of rice or beans or anything that has some weight to it. So hopefully that helps you with a few tips and that you have fun making these adorable letters. Have a great day today. Bye-bye.